Okay, 3, 2, 1.
Hi everybody, we are here for the 11th edition of Guru Talks. The world meets here in Bali. And today we have Paola. Can I spell it right? Tell me how I can spell it.
Cannucciari.
Cannucciari, okay, that's perfect.
That's the way you spell it.
So Paola is the co-founder of Eco Bali, and she was one of the first to arrive in Bali a long time ago, in 1990, right?
Actually, in 1990 I arrived in Indonesia.
In Indonesia.
I arrived in Bali, lived in Bali actually a lot after, in 2001, early 2001. Yeah.
Because first Paola came to Indonesia, to Papua, and if I'm not correct, please let me know. And in there she developed a lot of programs related to conservation of animals.
I came for a program on conservation and sustainable use of wildlife, specifically crocodiles, funded by United Nations, FAO, in collaboration with the Indonesian government. Yeah,
very interesting.
A different life.
A different life.
The crocodiles were...
My first life.
So crocodiles were your friends in that sense? Good,
yeah, I have a lot of respect for them.
Of course, they are wonderful and amazing, respectful animals.
So,
hello, Francisco, how are you today?
So nice we need to do this presentation, and then in subtitles is Francisco Oliveira, Anna, and Paola.
And we are all here.
And we are all here to first of all, to thank you so much for coming.
Thank you for accepting the challenge.
We know you are very, very committed with your work, and you have a very busy schedule. And it's an honor to have you here, knowing all the work you have been doing for this 15 years, I think.
Of Eco Bali. So 1990 you arrived in Indonesia, you went to Papua, and you came from Rome. Yeah. So can you explain us in a more kind of chronologic way what made you come from Rome, and how was the drive? Of course it started in Italy. What happened?
Well, I finished my university by training. I'm a veterinarian, so hence the reason for taking care of animals. I come from a university, a faculty where we were taking care of big animals, not specialized on small ones. Then I started to do a bit of work as usual with pets and other things, but it wasn't my call. I was very good in clinics and analyzing things, but to be on a so confined thing, it wasn't my thing. I really wanted to. I wanted to work in a team, and I wanted to see the world. I wanted to travel. I wanted to do all kinds of.
So things. You were like 15 those days.
I was no. When you mean when you
started to want to travel?
When I started to want to travel, I think I was 12.
Yes, you started to have this.
And I gave help to my parents because I wanted to go to the United States, and so they did. So I went to Chicago to visit my uncle. I was 12 and a half, I think, and that was my first travel alone. I remember nothing, absolutely zero of the actual flight. And I was I loved it. And then I came back, studying all this, finish high school, go to university. I went to university not in Rome, in another city.
Where?
Perugia.
Perugia, I heard about it.
Beautiful city, lovely time,
all
excellent friends.
In Italy are beautiful.
Fantastic time, really had a blast. Finished that, started to do a little bit of work. I mean, work in different situations, big animals, small animals, all that. But one thing that kept on going in my mind, I really would like to go and do some work in other countries. So I applied for the possibility of working in so-called developing countries. And this opportunity came up. And here I am. I mean, here I was. I was sent to Jakarta. My English was not as okay as now. It was okay,
but not enough.
I had no clue what Indonesians had to sound like. And I was posted in the then called Irian Jaya, because at that time it was not called Papua, it was called Irian Jaya.
Okay.
which is the
part,
Indonesian part of Papua.
Which is the west part of Papua.
Yeah, the other one is Papua New Guinea.
And the other one is Indonesia.
Indonesia at that time was called Irian Jaya, now Papua.
Very savage and wild life place.
I think I've been very blessed because I have seen Papua in a way that most probably is not the way it is now. It was breathtaking. I mean, you would fly on top of a forest that it was just until you could see. I mean, it was amazing with all the troubles of flying and turbulence and all the kind of things that you experience on top of a tropical rainforest.
But it was like small planes, yeah, like Cessna style.
No. I wasn't at that level. Those are the missionaries.
Okay.
It's a little bit of a different breed. I haven't ventured up to that level.
Okay.
I mean, I did a couple of those things. In one flight, I actually thought that was gonna be it. That's what I thought. And on the same flight, the year before, the plane crashed and disappeared, and 3 people of our own project from before gone, and everybody was joking, saying that most probably they started a new family down because you can't find the plane. You cannot. I know. I apologize to anybody. I mean, it's a horrible thing.
You have some sense of humor.
Yeah. No, but that's what the narrative of people saying, because it was at least. Unfortunately, I've heard that it's not the way it is. And to be honest, since 1994, that was the last time that I went there. And I am scared to go back.
Why?
I would love
to see
because I don't want to remember it different.
I'm
being very.
We had Django Mango last movie night. Yeah. He's coming to the island now for 40 years, and he has been in Alor. And he arrived there, they never saw a Westerner. And he did the kayaking around the island. So in Papua, it's a true story. There are many tribes, they never saw a Westerner.
Yeah. I was the only Westerner, so-called white lady in the whole town.
Wow. How they deal with that? It was like...
Yeah, they would come and... very
That's
often.
intimidating.
So
my neighbor called me tourist for 3 years. He was living right on my side.
So you were living 3 years there?
His kids always, tourist. That's
3 years in Papua?
No, sorry, 2.5. 2.5.
2.5.
It was a beautiful experience. It was a fantastic experience. I mean, I really... It was also a changing thing, because the team was beautiful, the people were beautiful. We had a great connection straight away.
What kind of work were you doing there specifically? Yes. So you went there, you were living there?
Well, conservation and sustainable use, it means that we had part of the team that was actually on the river checking on the wild population, if there was enough or not, because there's sustainable use means that actually there's a certain amount of animals that can be caught for either being raised and then for the skin. That's the end of the story. So to make leather for
some brands we know.
And a lot of them were doing some a lot of the small villages and all that. They were making a life out of
they would eat the animals or whatever.
No, but it was mostly for the skin. So it was a little bit. I mean, if we want to go into that, it's a long story. So and there's a lot of things. So that could be a podcast on its own.
So what species were you protecting those days? What was your specific work regarding the species? We had part was to deal with the population in the wild, ensuring that was not depleted. Okay.
I was more in charge of the meaning of ranching or farming as well. So how do you actually can raise the animal for those specific
And the animal
things.
we are talking are crocodiles?
Yes.
Wow.
And then after that, so 2.5 years on that, back to Italy, work in WWF for 1 year.
Oh.
And then once you know the field, it's difficult to be in an office.
Of course. We can imagine.
And then I was offered the job back on the same topic for here in Indonesia. So I came back and I stayed there for 9 years. So I was managing the biggest crocodile farm in Indonesia. And it was more of a kind of a research center. I fell in love because we had a 3 hectares pond with with crocodiles in it for breeding and all kinds of stuff. So we have nests, all sorts of things. And I met my husband there.
There in
Sumatra, where I was staying. He was working for a sister company on something different. And then
it was love at first sight.
I would say kind of. You know, I mean,
nice.
we were 2 souls that had a lot in common.
Connection,
so
there.
yeah.
And that must be a very strong connection, the love for animals. That's a really big bond
Sure.
between...
I mean, it was more of a spiritual thing rather than really animal, to be honest. I mean,
Yeah.
Interesting.
yeah, he's Balinese, so I mean, by the way, I mean, we worked together, so we made
You
we
still
also
work-
made
But
Eco
having
Bali
the same
together.
passion regarding the preserving nature and everything.
Sure, I mean,
Gives you the
absolutely,
spark, yeah, of
absolutely. I
understanding
mean,
each other.
you're starting from similar foundations.
Exactly.
That's you're speaking the same language.
Yeah.
Yes,
Exactly.
of course. And this was like 30 years ago. And I don't know if you
Yeah.
can answer this, if you still have that type of insights of information. But how did things change? Mainly, for example, regarding that farm that you were taking care of, then and now. Do you know how things are at this moment?
No, I have to be honest, I've lost a little bit the contact when the development and the reason why I actually left and decided to shift in something different. I mean, there was already some signs, but it was because I did not recognize myself on that kind of choices anymore. There was a huge, Indonesia went through a huge economic crisis with the change from Suharto to, so those
From
were
the
those were
dictatorship to
Suharto times.
democracy,
Yeah.
So also the
So
founding...
you remember Timor and all this story?
And yeah, I wasn't there, but
But
yeah,
you
yeah,
remember.
no, I remember. I mean, I remember a lot of things, and we experienced a lot of stuff. So it was complicated times. I don't know how it was in Bali. I know how was it over
Outside,
there. I knew what it meant to have rupiahs going from the inflation
Yes.
at that level, being responsible for 80
Project.
families and people working
80,
and
wow.
you know, people that suddenly nobody has any money, nobody can buy anything. So it was
Not easy.
It was a life learning experience that I
challenge.
didn't imagine.
Yeah.
And the founding of that kind of projects also. went
No,
a little bit-
they went on, but they had to become commercial. And that
Okay,
was
they
the
need
reason
to
why
make
I
business
left.
with, yeah.
That was the reason why I left, because while I was there, we were more into the research phase, and so it was really towards conservation, stories. But then when they had to become commercial, because suddenly there's no more money available, so you have to make money for sustaining, your staff and everything. And that's where I stepped back.
You step back.
Because I don't think that conservation and sustainable use should be
A profitable,
to allow big brands to create
prosper.
bags or any other item with still
So there was
animal
an
things in
inner revolution
there.
happening with you those days.
Yeah,
and
it was.
that was the moment that the spark started. Yeah.
There was a lot of adding things that at the end said, okay, this is not anymore, thanks. So I became a little bit like a fundamentalist from that point of view. Remember, right now, conservation is conservation, that's it.
So from there you come to Bali, or it took some time?
From there,
When you gave up this project?
When I gave up this project, I was already starting to consult for other things, so I started to look for different opportunities. The environment has always been my thing.
The round field.
And so I've started to work also with other NGOs, Italian. So I did a bit of Sri Lanka as well.
Okay.
And
many elephants in Sri Lanka. It's like crazy.
no, but not for any.
What was
I've
the-
decided
what was
to
the
step
species?
out from. No, sorry.
What was the species that you were?
No. In Sri Lanka, I was already waste management.
Always.
Okay,
always
management,
waste
you already-
management.
Yeah.
The time of the Tamil Nadu tigers still?
They were still there. Yeah.
I've been there in those days.
I couldn't go in many places.
Yeah,
like that.
I couldn't as well.
Of course.
Yeah.
It was super dangerous.
And so started from there, and then already here.
So you come here, what
We
year?
came here in the beginning of 2001.
Okay.
Our son was almost 5. We took it a little bit easy
Why Bali?
because my husband is from Bali.
Oh, he's Balinese, okay.
Yeah.
These are very specific.
And when you are not exactly sure 100%, I think Bali is the best place to choose.
It's
To
relaxed.
be honest.
It's a bit
And
of
we
a compromise.
wanted really to start to spend a little bit sometimes with our son as
Yes,
well,
of course.
especially me. I was having a very intense working life, so I wanted to take it easy a little bit personally.
So when did you start with the waste management in Bali? Is it some years
In
after?
Bali, I started with a friend. He actually already had a similar thing going on in Ubud. It was another venture. It was called ABC Solution. I came in the pictures of Eco Bali just a few months after it was founded, yeah, that was was actually mid 2005.
Okay.
We considered Eco Bali founded in 2006
So
just
16 years
because
ago,
of
yeah?
the legal status. So this year we're celebrating the 15th
Wow!
anniversary.
Congratulations!
Yeah,
Congratulations!
thank you.
So you were the first ones putting in stake, separating
No,
plastic?
we were not. the first
Oh,
ones.
okay. There were people around.
I mean, there were few. I mean, it was the usual suspects, I would say. There were more people, other people that have been on the scene.
And they are still
for
today
a
doing
while.
it, or from those days?
Some
as you?
of them, yes. Some no. Some have progressed to do even bigger things. But with Eco Bali, yeah, it was something that, again, there was a similar service that was going on in Ubud. It was called ABC Solution.
One that you were
So we
talking
need
about.
Yes.
to give credits to that. And there was other things going on, but not that much. And it was really about trying to provide a service to people that didn't want to see their waste just going on.
And those
on
days,
the
things
river.
were really awful regarding plastic and waste,
Maybe
like all
not
over the
as-
place. It's much more organized today. Would you say there is a difference?
Me.
No, let's go and touch the issue.
I mean, there have been changes. There have been more and more people interested. There have been more and more people that are really going, are really starting to do things. There's a lot of also work from different levels. So we need to recognize that it's not that there was nothing and it's still nothing. There's a lot going on. It's just that also it's becoming hopefully a little bit slightly more organized now,
yeah,
because also the way people say is that suddenly waste management a few years ago started to be under the radar. Before it was not a topic I was really interested for anyone.
Nobody would take seriously. Yeah.
People would look at us and say, "What?
What
Why?
are you doing? Why?
Why? The reason why?
The question is always, are you here? Your business? You have villas? You have hotels?
Yeah.
What do you do?
You have
How you make
textile or
money?
silk,
How you make money?
batik.
Yeah.
And then you say, "No, I'm working on environment and
With
waste
garbage.
management." They look at you like, "What?"
So let's talk about goals. On the beginning, for sure, there was a goal that you established and your partner regarding the foundation of Eco Bali and the people that were involved. Can you explain us a little bit about that goal and if it maintains these days or things change in this paradigm in these past 16 years?
Well, I would say that our so to speak, vision and mission has remained pretty stable. Our idea was first of all to provide solutions, second to minimize waste as much as possible, and therefore have a little bit of an idea of what is now called zero waste. Maybe we've changed the way to communicate it, but the actual vision and mission has remained pretty much the same, and has been also the way it should be to guide you in what you're doing and the choices and all that. And so at the beginning we focused on the collection service, which has been our backbone since from the start. That provides the possibility for people to do also waste separation at source. We focus on just the unorganic waste, which is the main
It's already
thing.
a lot.
For organic, we promote composting at home. That reduces, not only you can enjoy your own compost, but that reduces also a lot of emissions and everything. Nevertheless, nowadays there are also some initiatives, some services that are providing those kind of collections, and they're great, and we're great supporters
Like
of those.
Compost Heroes, right?
Like Compost Hero. There's another one, it's called Urban
Compost, yes, true.
So great things, very complementary. On our side, we still push the composting at our own. I mean, we believe that especially in a situation like Bali, where everybody's got a little bit of a garden where
you can do it.
You can do it. But we understand also that people have different, necessities. And in this, I mean, we went from having one truck, and then to 2, 3, 4, 5. Now we have 10.
Wow! So it starts to be a big operation already.
We have our own sorting facility. So that has made us possible to really put our hands on at many levels. On that level, also in trying to understand what to do with these packages.
Exactly.
Because at the end, if you're trying to practice zero waste, and we are at the end of the pipe, so there's
Of
reduction
course.
that can be done by who. I mean, I buy one thing, I bring my own glass container, I produce zero packaging, so that's my reduction. But if you don't, and you use us, we are the one dealing with
that.
what
Of
people
rest, yeah.
have been doing. So, and the choices and what we have to deal with, it depends on what people do. So
So
if
it
they're
starts with the
shopping more of
consumer.
certain things, then we have to deal more on certain things rather than others. We don't have a choice on that. Therefore, we have to deal with everything. And there's a lot of challenges on that. We have started also to tackle the possibility to work with producers. So we started a collaboration with Tetra Pak Indonesia a long time ago, and so that allowed us, for example, to collect this and for recyclability and all that. But there's a lot of other plastics that are...
Of course.
You know what Gary is doing in Sungai Watch? He has this scan machine.
Yeah.
You pick up all the garbage and then goes to the code bars, and he's filing up all the companies, a much amount of plastic each company is doing, and then he goes and speak with them. That's pinpointed.
I mean, we don't have. I mean, Gary is one of.
I know. Come
we
on.
spoke about it. I mean, shout out to Gary.
He's a baby. He's your baby.
We love him dearly. We think he's a great guy. He should go for president. I do believe it. You know, I mean, I do. And I told him many times, and not only him. That in the family there's more than one. And
Yes.
Yeah, they're like 3 kids. They are kids. They are men. They are grown ups.
And
very
girlfriends, Melati. I mean,
everybody's engaged in this.
so we're very fortunate to have all these kids. Sorry, guys.
Yeah, we say
I mean,
kids.
to these people.
Yeah, because they are young and they are more aware than most of the grown-ups I know. In that sense. Yeah.
And it's a terrific work, and the amount of work and dedication that goes into that, and the ability also to bring people together and to move. It's really unexpected, at least to the
But
least.
they got also the inspiration from you. Yeah.
You know, my Japanese acupuncture teacher, which I practice now for 20 years, he says you need two things. Something to be inspired, and then engagement you commit to do the practice. Yeah.
Sure.
So they can inspire on you, but they are very engaged by themselves.
But there's a lot. I mean, having said those, because those are the kids in the house, so to speak.
The kids in the house.
But there's also a lot of others, and I really would like to shout out to a lot of Indonesian kids, a lot of Balinese.
They are already engaged.
A lot of groups, a lot of people. We're working with a lot of people in Jakarta and everything that are super dedicated. There's so much coming out now that it's really an inspiration for all of us. And as you said, I mean, it could be sure, we could be an inspiration for them, but they also are continuous an inspiration for us, because we also need to...
Exponential. You are both growing with each other. So I have a question to ask you, because we have a script.
Sure.
And so I would like to go back to East Indonesia and the projects that were developed there. And so the question is, are they still going on? And do you feel that you can tell us more about these projects, and if they are still going on in a good, positive way or negative? Just to know that your work had an impact and it's still going on.
Because you have a current project in East Indonesia, right?
Well, I don't have a project. I am working together with another international organization that it's focusing on sustainable tourism, and so I am working together with them for the part that concern waste management. So we definitely we keep working on this, so that the projects are still going on. Over there as well, I mean, I've had the pleasure to work with a lot of people, and we've been, forming each other, and so a lot of good things are happening. And I think the good thing that is happening is that not only what you can achieve through your project, but what through the work that you've done and the people that, as you said, you either have been inspired or work with, that then they decided to go on the other side, and then they keep on working. So there are fantastic projects that are happening right now over there.
And they are having good results. They are still going on.
Good results, I would say, and are the backbone for what can develop.
I have a question to ask out of the script, and it's very quick.
Out of the
script.
There you go. I was
So
waiting
you are
for
in
that.
a dirty podcast, and you are in the hot chair.
Okay.
Just let you know. The question I would like to ask you, because we have been having amazing people here, Juka with the compost, and Ben Castillo about Island sustainability projects, and we are trying to go deep into understanding why the reality is still this nightmare of too much plastic, too much problem. And we are going to see an amazing movie night tonight, and it's like you get insane why people don't do nothing, and this is increasing. It's not getting better. My question goes two ways. So we have the big companies, I'm not going to say whom, because it's no use. There is no revolution in the agenda here, just try to understand the problem. And then you have the consumer. Okay, so we are always complaining. When this COVID pandemic happened, it was the microchip of Bill Gates, and then Jeff Bezos about this, and now the crypto is the other guy. And we tend to blame the crooks, the guys, the corporations and the governments.
The big fish.
The big fish. And it's true, because they have a very big amount of responsibility, because they detect the laws and they impose what's going on. But we have, as consumers, the possibility of changing it. And I know Gary is doing with the Ministry of Education. They're trying to bring the awareness of plastic in schools. He told me that in the mangrove, they took out 70 tons of plastic in two months. And there was plastic there for 20 years. Yeah. It's insane. Yeah. And then I realized the deep problem. Do you think that we as consumers, before we move on to more questions, we have a responsibility as
Absolutely.
well? Come on. It's not like it's easy to blame others and then we don't stop consuming shit. Because we consume a lot of shit every day.
We have a responsibility towards everything we do. I mean, we're doing whatever we're doing in our life. It's gonna
our decision.
create something,
A reality.
So
yeah.
I mean, that's for sure. So of course, as a consumer, you do have the opportunity to do or say something. I mean, to decide what you want to shop. If you want to shop in one way or in another one. If you want to accept certain things,
No worries. No worries.
The hands are moving.
Yeah. Mamma mia, italiano.
Exciting, it's exciting.
And
okay.
and therefore, for sure, you do have the possibility. Nevertheless, as you know, choices a lot of times comes also with the possibility to be actually put in the fact that you can choose. When you develop strategies in which, in the names of the market, you start to give around stuff in plastic that are not recyclable, difficult to collect, there's no value, and blah, blah, blah. So it's a little bit of a two-way things. So on one side you can decide, on the other one, and also there's always, I mean, I wish it was so easy, yeah? But at least as people that start to be aware of certain things, we definitely need to start to make our own choices, that's for sure. And also make sure that people can be put in having more choices. That's another thing. So consumer organizations as well need to move a little bit more from many points of view.
It's good also to keep them in the dark, meaning without knowing exactly what they are purchasing, right?
Yeah, well, I mean, that's another podcast. Let's analyze how we eating, how are packaged those things, what we're, people have passed on trying to, I mean, again, but definitely that's the thing. But I mean, when I'm always saying that the more suspicious is what we're eating, and the most suspicious is the packaging.
Yeah, the packaging. So actually, this brings me to a question related. You are obviously a very busy woman. You have done a lot. You work a lot, and you do an amazing.
To have you here.
And you do, yes.
Not easy.
So it's a privilege.
Yeah.
So during this process of Eco Bali and teaching, and we know that it's also growing a certain level of awareness. So how do we envision the future? Meaning, do you think that we are, despite all of these things that we cannot control, there are some level of things that we cannot control, but in terms of level of awareness, do you think that the population, people worldwide, are getting more interest into sustainability? And also, of course, that's put in the case of Indonesia and Bali, where we are at this moment.
Out of the top of my head, I would say yes. Definitely there's more and more people that are interested. Again, there's so many groups, so many, especially in the young generation, so much more interest at all level. Because when we're talking about sustainability, we're not just talking about the environment, we're talking about culture, we're talking about economics, we're talking how everything intertwines in there. So by all sorts of levels. So definitely yes. Are we gonna be able to collectively to change the narrative?
That's the
where those
$1 million
corporations, because the narrative
they can change.
switches. They have a way to make you think that it's fine,
tricky.
And it's not. So I think it's really, really important that that kind of level of consciousness that you were talking before about our responsibility. It's really, really going deep into what is valuable for you, for your community, for your family, for your friends, for animals, for wherever you're living, and taking responsibility of what you're doing in anything, in eating, in taking care of what happens to your waste, what kind of things you're generating, how are you eating, what are you eating, how are you relating to many things, and own it. And by own it means that you're accountable for, and you
You know
keep
what
on
happened
going
here,
from
Anna?
that point of
The
view.
idea of doing this river cleaning. You know, the Sunguayoche every Friday. So we went with 20 people from the community here. And it was amazing seeing the reaction of people picking up all the plastics. Oh my God. I think people going there and see all the garbage and picking it up. We pick it up.
Almost 1 ton.
1 ton of 862 kilos of plastic from a beach. You know, and we were 22 with some Sungai Watch team. And people were like, wow, these spoons in plastic and this and the napkins and the... And people are not aware of the amount of garbage that we produce.
And you know why? Because they have never done waste separation and sort at home. If you
do
are
at home,
the
you
one
can see
throwing it and you realize what you're actually producing.
You realize, yeah.
You
You
realize,
see
I
it.
mean, because that is part of you. Yeah, most probably some of those packages, it's the same one that you're buying and throwing it away every day.
Yeah, we are throwing.
We
yeah.
have stories of people contacting and saying, oh, somebody's burning the waste behind my house. Can you do something about it? It was them. They didn't know.
They put the
It's their
Because
garbage.
it's their garbage.
yeah.
You know, but I mean, I can tell you stories. I mean, we've
Like
been in
crazy
this
ones.
business for 15
See,
years,
so
you
you
can
know.
imagine what has been going on, and it's really about people really taking responsibility and also treating the topic with. Try to be informed as well, you know, I mean, try to understand also the dynamic. It's really, really important. You know, a lot of things are happening. There's a lot of things that are also connected, not only from the environmental point of view, from waste management, it's also about legislation. It's also about social standards. It's also about the economics of things. So, you know, is it right or wrong to have a service, for example, that what is responsible waste management? We've been talking about this, about responsible waste management. It's about being responsible from all sorts of things. I mean, it's very normal around here to see the guy on the truck, and you know, and you know, who knows what kind of salaries or kind of stuff. And you also have to provide for that, and to be able to provide for that, it also means that you have to ask yourself, if I'm not, especially as a business, I mean, why would I question to, you know, pay, and I'm sorry to say that,
Yeah, you say, yeah.
for that kind of services, if I want that to be sustainable, you know, I mean, we've been seeing during the years that actually businesses wanted to be paid for people to get their waste.
No,
And I
yeah, the
always-
business of the
and
waste.
And I always say, you know, unless you're throwing away gold, it's very not possible that
Of course.
it's you know, to have the whole thing, to have people with, you know, social security, this and that and blah blah blah, and make it as a legitimate way to work and way of living. So it's also about that, and it's about the opportunities also that provides in terms of. But again, a lot is connected also with what we call the circular economy. So
The
how
circular
circular
economy,
economy. So circular economy is really specifically about how do we manage materials. And so what we do with that, both from an organic point of view and organic point of view, how do we need to rethink the way we're treating materials so that it's actually become food for the whole thing.
Full circle.
And this provides one very important thing that I don't think that there's enough being done from that point of view, which is research and development. And we need to redesign the way we're doing things. We need to phase off certain packages, and you know, and at the end of the day, we're dealing with a lot of waste that it's not easy to deal with, and we receive it every single day.
I have two questions regarding that. So my next question goes to, are many projects now being developed in Bali with the same kind of approach you have? And the second question, that you can answer both. I heard there is a pile of plastic somewhere, it looks like the pyramid of Egypt in Bali, like
Oh my God.
where they...
They throw everything.
And what I heard as well, just correct me if I'm wrong, only 8% of the plastic can be recycled, means the garbage is not being recycled with the speed that it should be.
Okay.
So what do you can tell about this?
What I think we need to say is not that there is only 8% of the plastic can be recycled. I mean, it depends if the way the situation is done at the moment, only that
8%.
percent is taken out. But if you're doing a proper thing, I mean, in our case, we recover 85% of the material that we take.
85%?
Even plastic.
Yeah.
Everything.
Yeah.
Wow.
So our residue, it's very minimum. So
Okay.
if you do a proper, understanding and all that, and again by separating waste at the source, it really, makes
That's the
things
way.
different. Think most probably 50 to 60% on kind of a modern household, at 70%, 60 to 70% on a more rural situation, it's organic. The moment you're taking that out and you compost, it's already one part
70%
that.
is gone. So
Then you have the
30%.
rest. It's 40, 30, 40%,
Is
whatever.
what we need to work with.
Then you need to start to work, and then providing that you're, understanding what to buy, not to buy, the packages and all that.
The
There's a lot that needs to be done. So at the end, the residue is minimum. We still need to work on that residue. I mean, that should be virtually nothing. I mean, we should be able to put out there for consuming
Yes.
everything that we know what to
Yeah.
do with that, right? We shouldn't be,
You saw the
selling
Instagram
stuff.
of Tungai Watch. They are doing
Yeah.
sheets in plastic, or
Yeah.
they have already the machinery there.
Yeah. They're not. They have it now. There's other organization also doing similar things. To be honest, I mean they're beautiful. Yeah, I don't want to say that, but that level with that specific kind of plastic, it's also very common. I mean the plastic that are creating more issues are the multi-layer sachets and all this kind of stuff. That's actually not easy to do. So what I'm saying is that there's a lot of technology that can be used. I mean, Bali, we don't have industrial situation, so everything needs to go to Java, where most of the industry are, and there's a very viable system of quantity of recyclable that's actually going. The point is that we don't retrieve enough. So Eco Bali, for example, work also with Waste Bank. We were co-managing Waste Bank with 6 different villages. We are, providing possibility for 10,000 over people. So it's really about creating a culture of separating waste.
Yeah.
That's a very important.
And where is school
Impregnated.
there to prepare the kids? Because I think
School,
they bring that awareness to
we've
the
been
fathers.
having programs with schools
Okay.
since almost
Ever.
from the beginning.
Because
And
it
we
goes
had
along,
a
of
program that
course.
was called Adopt a School. We did it for a long time.
Okay.
We've been doing things with
Local
different
schools.
local schools. Yeah. We have a lot of program. I think we've covered more than 80 schools in Bali. So with all the kids and the students and the teachers and everything. So definitely, but school is also something that it's a new batch of people coming in and out. So
You need to
whatever
maintain.
so you need to maintain, you need to have the curriculum it's in there, you need to have the setting that
And
it's
never
in
stop
there.
it.
And so right now we also have a program for a school that it's ongoing, that it's specifically for teachers to teach the kids.
Teachers
Yeah.
to teach.
So you prepare the teachers.
Yeah,
okay.
actually, now brings me to a question that is also related to that. Many times people talk about intention. What
Yeah.
is your intention in doing whatever you do in your life? How you set your intention? Of course, in this case particular, your intention is very good. It's an honest intention. And you are doing things that probably most of the people never wanted to do, never even thought about it as their, dreams and what I'm going to do in their life. And you are also in the ground field where there's a lot of, not crocodiles, let's put it sharks, nothing against with the animals, but you get my point. So my question to you is, throughout these years, did you ever felt like giving up?
Giving up? No. I love what I do. I do believe firmly on what I do. I think that when you find your passion, I mean, waste management is such an inspiring thing, to be honest. You know, I mean, if you love it, I mean, there's so many doors. You can work on so many things, you know, and if you get tired of one aspect, you can move to the other one. So if you really need diversity, there's a lot of things you can do. So giving up, definitely no. Feeling stuck, yes.
Yeah. And disappointed sometimes. Yeah?
Disappointed sometimes. Angry sometimes. Yeah. Not that I think that being angry it's a useful
we know about the glaciers,
feeling and everything. I think it's not, but I have to be honest. I mean,
human.
not angry, not like but mostly just this kind of things that you really feel that you know. Yeah, you can't unlock, you know, certain things that you're trying from different angles and all that, and yes, sometimes
you think your project is utopic or it's real, in the sense that it's being done, but we know that the production of plastic is going to triple in the next 10 years. Yeah,
absolutely. I totally agree, and that's exactly the point. What we need to fight is, can we please start really to redesign things, or phasing out what it's not possible, what is not sustainable, continue with other things. I don't want to open up stories about, you know, plastic. It's going to be around us for as long as this corporation is going to decide that they're going to be there.
And this is the remains of the production.
Then again, I'm not a politician.
It's the remains of the petrol thing.
It's the remain of the petrol.
They needed to make money with that residuals.
You will see it
in the movie.
I know, the movie is heavy.
But again, we do collectively have a duty also to ourselves, I think. You know, I mean,
we as consumers.
As consumers, as human beings.
Yes,
I mean,
yes.
What ultimately, what do you want? You want to be happy. You want to have a good thing and all that kind of stuff. So I mean, like, we need to work on that, and it's hard work. And but at least make sure that those ones that don't have a solution, and we really don't know what to do, and to start to redesign things and actually invest more on those things and all that. But that's a whole different story, because then it comes into what is virgin plastic versus things. So there's a lot of legislation, there's a lot of things.
Yeah.
You know, tackling this thing is not one aspect, it's so many aspects.
The question I'm going to ask you is related also with the question I did to Yoram Zekri, which is the vice champion of freediving and live in Tahiti. And then I asked him about the plastic, which is, you have a piece of plastic in the Pacific Ocean, which is like the size of California.
Yeah, those are the gyres, those are the islands, and there are 5 in the world.
So I said to him, so I said to him, what do you think about it? They said, with government will, in some islands in Tahiti, they stopped. In 2-3 months, they could see already, see the difference. Obviously, the plastic coming ashore was coming from the boats and everything, but if there is will, you can see the difference immediately.
But look,
so why there is no will in the higher level of decision?
It's because the people, I'm gonna say something.
Come on,
really,
let's go. Nobody's going to arrest
cheesy.
you.
It's not.
It's nothing wrong.
It's that I think that the people that care and have that kind of mentality are not sitting at the same tables of the other ones that are dealing with the industry. I mean, so it's 2 different languages that it's very complicated to
You think it's like a denial kind of approach?
In a way.
They don't want to see the problem.
Well, it's not that they don't want to see the problem. They see the problem, but they dodge the story.
Because the profit is more important.
That
is the thing.
Yeah, of course. So that the story of, that's one of the reasons why it's more important to, if you want to see more plastic, more material recycled, you need to raise the level. You need to make sure that more items, more packaging are going to have a higher quantity of those materials inside, so there's more requests. Otherwise, it's much easier to have virgin plastic used straight
Before
from
I
the
make the
beginning.
next question, I'm going to tell you something regarding that specific thing. I'm not going to say who told me, but somebody who is working with cleaning the recycling plastic said that he pressured some big companies. One of them is a shampoo company. Maybe you know the story. And then he said, man, you have a lot of plastic bottles being produced every single day. And they sent an email saying, you know, we are doing something. The size of our bottles shrink like 1.8 of the size. Like they were doing amazing. And he said, this is ridiculous. Yeah. So there is no intention to change it.
Because this is, there are two types of reduction. We all know the story because I've been told in many ways. So I know the same story, not from a bottle of shampoo, but from
another thing. Yeah.
Our bottle is weighing, I don't know, like 30% less. So now we're using 30% less.
Yes.
Yes, sure, but I still have your bottle. And I still need to do something with that.
Yes.
So that's so what is the reduction internally that can be accounted for? But that doesn't mean that it affects the impact outside.
No, it's not solving the
so
problem.
the mix of this story, it doesn't make any sense.
It's like Monty Python
Exactly.
Just sand to your eye.
Exactly.
So I think we are about to approach the end of our podcast.
I don't know if I've answered to all your questions properly, to be honest.
You did answer. You did answer. But some I had prepared here that you already answered me, that you are doing this for passion, because you believe it. So
I have the privilege of doing something that I
you
like,
love.
which I think that it should be for.
yeah, not many people also can say they work in their passion, right? Many times they just do whatever they can
For salary,
exactly.
Many people.
So before Francisco does his last question, I'm going to jump and going straight to Bali because this is our home and this is where we are at this moment. And you have been here for a long time, Paola. What is the thing that you most love and appreciate of living in the beautiful island still, besides all this management and waste management? What is the thing that you like the most of living in Bali?
Well, I mean, it's a beautiful island from a general point of view. Last night was a stunning.
Oh, it was the sunset and the moon on the other side.
It was absolutely stunning. I love my walks in the beach in the morning. I thank all the people who are doing all the work to keep it clean, because right now we still can walk it in the morning and it's still beautiful and nice. Then there is going to be a different season in which I will have to walk different walks.
I know.
The people. I'm also very connected to the people because I'm married to a Balinese. So I mean, I also have the fortune to be connected with the whole thing. And also the what I like of Bali is also this interconnectedness.
Yes,
Interconnection.
correct.
Yeah, interconnection.
Of all different cultures, and with a strong movement from the Indonesian level. I have a lot of friends, a lot of people, a lot of willingness to work and everything. So I really feel that Bali, it's a place that if you want to work, you have ideas, you want to realize something, you actually have a shot to do a lot of things, to realize a lot of things. It's a very blessed place for this thing. So I definitely like that of the whole story, and a little bit like the whole Indonesian. Plus, Indonesians have a great sense of humor. Great sense of humor.
It's true. You know what I love in Bali? And I lived in India for almost 10 years. So I started to reduce my, I would say, Westerner kind of way of living. Is that usually, I'm not saying everybody, they don't shout. And they don't, if you are aggressive, that's amazing. Because you really tune to them and you go, and things start to be more wise the way you communicate.
Can you imagine for an Italian?
And the Portuguese?
Have you seen that I'm not using my hands?
You did a little bit, but very small.
Because you agitated me with the topic.
So the last question is, can you give 3 advice to people while listening, the viewers, to finish, how we could change this paradigm as consumers.
Stay informed.
Want.
Informed for real, not just bleeping,
You know, like
not shopping around.
armchair doctor, yeah.
Yeah.
Yes.
Stay informed for real. Make it happen. I mean, do your choices every day. Ask yourself your questions. What's happening? Like one question we always ask: have you asked yourself what's happening to your waste? Do you know what's happening? Do you know where it's going? Do you know what's going on? Are you taking responsibility for certain things? And blah blah blah. All these things. And support everybody that is doing a lot of things, because we all need a lot of support. We are a big community. We need really to, become stronger and stronger and have a lot of things to do. And again, there might not be easy. There's a lot of, for example, from the villages, the government and everything, there's a lot of things happening right now to really wanted to, work things better. So there's a lot of work to do, and don't be afraid to, how would I say, get
your hands
dirty.
So we are
And
planning.
most of all, stop finding excuses for not doing things.
The denial kind of thing. So we are planning we do river cleansing. We are going to Juka's compost. Do you think it would be a good idea to bring our community of Guru Talks and visit Eco Bali and see how it works?
Absolutely.
I think it could be a nice idea, so you can see hands-on what's going on.
Sure, we can show.
So the challenge
all
is
the
there.
things.
That's the date.
We have a date.
Absolutely.
Thank you so much for coming,
Thank you,
Paola.
Paola.
Thank you so
It's a
much.
pleasure.
Your name? Petra. Thank you for coming. Lisa and
Lola.
Nola. Thank you.
Thank you so much.
Thank you. Thank you, Tegar. Thank you, Yaru.
Thank you so much.